The basic thing is that by default, everyone is poor. So poverty is the natural condition of human beings. And the reason is because the planet doesn't give us many usable resources and it gives us a lot of threats. So the normal condition of life is it's deficient and it's dangerous. And the only way to come out of that is to be very productive. And the only way to be very productive is to use machines to produce a lot more value than we can do using our fairly meager physical bodies. And so what energy does is it allows us to use machines to produce 10, 50, 100 times more value so that we can go from a deficient and dangerous world to an abundant and safe world. And my observation is that those of us in the wealthy world, we all do this using significant amounts of fossil fuel because that's the only form of energy that can be low cost, reliable, power every type of machine, not just ones based on electricity, and that can do it for billions of people in thousands of places. So our whole standard of living depends on fossil fuels. And yet there's been a movement to say that poor people should somehow not use fossil fuels, even though we're not able to do that ourselves. And I've pointed out this is incredibly, incredibly destructive. If you look at the poorer places that have risen out of poverty, most notably China, but also India, they've done it by quintupling their use of fossil fuels to go from unproductive and poor to relatively productive and prosperous. And so what we've seen, though, with the energy crisis is not only are we opposing poorer people bringing themselves up with fossil fuels, but we're restricting the availability of fossil fuels to the point where the wealthy world is suffering massively as well, which means the poor world is going to suffer even more. So what you're seeing in the US, we see rising electricity prices, particularly in the East. We see rising gasoline prices. But in Europe, it's incomparably worse. I mean, there you have fertilizer factories shutting down, which affects food production. You have all kinds of people saying, like, you can't, you in Spain, it was you can't cool buildings below 81 degrees Fahrenheit. You see restrictions on hot water all over Germany. And we haven't even hit winter yet. And so just put it this way, Europe is afraid of winter. That is embarrassing. Human beings should not be afraid of winter for the last 75 years at least.